Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another I Honor Me chat. This is our episode 21. We are doing part two of I Honor Me, or honoring yourself through emotional intelligence. Last week was so amazing and such good dialogue and such good conversation that I felt like we didn't get to all parts. And the assessment that we had talked about, and the assessment is something that's kind of essential to help people navigate through emotional intelligence. So I asked my brother to come back and join us again. So for those that were not on last week or want to hear again, I'm going to introduce my brother yet again to you. My brother, his name is Adam Armstrong. He is the husband and has been a husband for over 19 years. He is the father of seven beautiful children. My nieces and nephews are blessed to have him as their father. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. He is a phenomenal father. He's also the founder of Freedom Through Music. And he's also the creative director of Kill the Cool. As you see, he's got his brand hat on right now. So, and like I said last week, my brother has been in the behavioral health field for well over 20 years. He's done coaching, he's done therapy, he's done courses, classes, he's helped people with addiction. So his knowledge and wealth of knowledge, and even his own personal experience, has led him to where he is today, and the knowledge he's able to pour back into people, and then now the I Honor Me community. So welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you.
once again. Thank you for taking the time out and being a part of this.
Absolutely.
And so we just want to do a quick recap of last week, and why we're talking about this. And so I'm going to talk about how honoring yourself through emotional intelligence is vital, and then kind of what emotional intelligence is, and then I'm going to give him the reins to kind of do a recap of how his week went, and then we'll go jump right into our assessment. So honoring yourself through emotional intelligence involves recognizing, understanding, and respecting your own emotions, as well as using this awareness to make choices that align with your values and it's for your well being. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions as well as the emotions of others. And it's a key skill to build relationships, achieve your goals, and to live a balanced and fulfilling life. And so, again, we're going to get into emotional intelligence. There are four domains that we're going to dig more into. But it's so important. And we kind of talked about this last week about emotional intelligence and how it's actually believed to be more important than IQ. So EQ, emotional intelligence, is linked to people being more successful. And so that's why we kind of are talking about it, because emotional intelligence and honor go hand in hand. So, brother, if you can kind of do a quick recap of how your week went after emotional intelligence chat, and then we will go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it as soon as actually while I was on the call, there was a situation with one of my seven, actually two of my seven, and I had this immediate had a switch where I had to go from talking about it to being about it, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was as soon as I pressed in, I saw a text message from my wife saying that she had left to take our youngest son to the emergency room because there was an accident that happened involving him getting injured playing basketball.
yeah,
So I had to take the I Honor Me pause. I
yeah,
literally did, and try to breathe through, try to talk to myself, all of the above. Of course, my first reaction, to be completely honest, was um, I was upset and
yeah,
angry about it.
yeah,
Angry that it happened. How could this happen? Different things. And yeah, so I think that was my first reaction. Um, but it's interesting because I understand that my first reaction is not my first emotion. And so that was my
mhm,
first reaction, but my first emotion wasn't that. My first emotion, because anger is a secondary emotion, so that means I had an emotion first, even if
yeah,
quick, even if it was real quick. I had a first emotion, and then the second emotion came, anger, and then that's what I reacted to. So that was my first reaction, but not my first emotion. And I would say that in just being aware of myself, my first emotion was fear.
Mm.
And
Right.
then, so fear of, uh, is it broken? What's going on?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just fear around that. But again, I think just as people, and I think as a man, we don't stay in that kind of like fear base, and we go to anger, because anger we can control, but fear we can't. So it's more of that place of like, man, I'm like fearful of what does this mean? And I don't have any control, and so I don't
Yeah.
like not having some sense of
Hmm.
control. So anger, it's like, okay, I can be mad at my other child for not listening, and that's
Hmm.
why this accident happened. If you would have listened to mom 5 minutes prior to this happening, this would have happened. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in this community that can probably attest to situations like that with,
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
like, man, warning comes before destruction. Almost like
Listen.
mom used to always tell us.
Yes,
But
she
yeah,
did.
so I would say, just I think that was, and it's been a journey.
Yeah.
But seeing her response, one of my daughter's responses, in the care, and taking responsibility, for her actions or for her disobedience, and that led to this misfortune. I think that has helped me to process and be able to work through my own emotional intelligence on that. There was a domino effect that happened, because it's not just him being injured. It was 2 days away from him playing basketball, his second game of the season, and
Yeah.
he did so well the first game, and so I was looking forward to it. And so I think that, again, doing my own work, doing my own time to like think like, what am I upset about? Yeah, he got hurt, I'm upset about that, but I'm also upset because we just started basketball season. What are you talking
Right.
about? Like,
Right. Right. Right.
oh
Right.
man, like, and then to get the news that like we have to wait for the next day to find out if it is broken.
Hmm.
It was like another, it was like another
Yep.
thing. And then, having to go and meet with another doctor, to figure out like what the plan is for it. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's just being able to go through that journey, and again, understanding like, what those real raw emotions are, what the first emotions are, what the second emotions are, maybe the third, and realizing that there's, I mean, each day has its own kind of emotions around it.
Hmm.
There's even emotional intelligence that I've had to exercise even with my son, because he's 5, and he doesn't understand he has a broken bone that he needs to not do what 5-year-olds do. And so, I mean, even the second day he's trying to do push-ups, and I'm like, dude, you can't do. What are you doing? He's
Yeah.
planking on
Yeah.
the ground. So I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And so I mean, even he's been sleeping with me, so I'm like just making sure that he's not sleeping on his shoulder, and I'm like turning
Yeah.
him over in the middle of the night. So there's this ongoing thing of being aware of him, but then also being aware of me and my emotions, but then being aware of him and his emotions too, not just the physical care of him. And so we've had our conversations, and we continue to have our conversations with him, just regarding how, how he's feeling. What does he feel about not being on the basketball team anymore?
Yes.
How does he feel when, because he can't dribble a basketball, that the new basketball that his mom just got him? Those things, just constantly checking in on him, because that's a part of the emotional intelligence, is others focus too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you said some amazing things, and we kind of had a quick chat about this before we went live. Several of the guests that I've had on the I Honor Me chat, it seems like when we give something a name or we talk about a specific topic, it's a twofold. It's like we put it in the atmosphere, and then it's like we're kind of challenged with it, or we're more hyper aware, is what you and I had discussed. That it's like you said, when you get a new car, you never seen it before on the street, but as soon as you get that car, everybody and their mom has it around you, right? So with emotional intelligence, and I think for me, since I Honor Me started, I have been more aware of things concerning honoring me, and in all aspects. It's like I can't not see it, right? So same thing with emotional intelligence, and for that to literally happen at the end of the live, we both get off, and that's the first thing. It was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, yeah, you know, um, and I wanted to make sure that I, checked in with you guys, because I was like, man, like we just talked about emotional intelligence, and like you said, it's not just your emotions, it's others' emotions,
Yeah.
right? And being able to navigate through that. And I think that that's something important to be aware of, because I think oftentimes we're not. We think it's sometimes just about our emotions,
Yeah.
but it's really not. And I love how your attention and being intentional even about your son's emotions, and how he's processing and dealing even as a 5-year old, because I think sometimes people don't necessarily acknowledge or are aware that children have emotions, and we need to acknowledge, and these are the foundational things that happen. Yes, it absolutely was unfortunate, but these are the foundational, where if something happens, this is the time to kick in
Yeah.
and take the time to practice emotional intelligence, so as he gets older, he's able to use emotional intelligence appropriately,
Yeah.
right?
Good. Yeah.
So I think that that's so good that you're doing that. And then I don't know if your wife is on, if Sarah's on. If you are, Sarah, I love you, but I just want to say this. I thought it was big, even the emotional intelligence that she was doing as well. I'm not going to put all her business out there, but she the next day took time for herself to
Oh yeah, she
process.
did. She did. Yeah.
And I thought that that was so amazing, that she did that, because again, I've been talking about, take a mental health day, take a sick day if you have to, when you need to process whatever you're going through. So for her to take a day to process through her own emotions, I thought was very critical
Yeah.
to what happened.
Yeah, no, for sure, and by her doing that, helping me to, again, just deal with, also helping to process the with the child that was
Yes,
disobedient,
yes,
and didn't
yes,
listen, helped me too. So she helped me through that, and then mom helped me to make sure that I continue to engage with Eli on his emotions and
yes,
things.
yes.
So, yeah, mom will definitely make sure. So
Yes, yes, she will. She will. But and again, we talked about last week about being present, and I feel like emotional intelligence really helps you to have to be present in the moment. Like we were talking about yoga, but that whole situation, I think, was very eye opening right away. For, hey, we've been talking about it tonight. Now it's time to take action with emotional intelligence. So before we move on with the assessment, I just want to put out there, and I'm gonna let my brother kind of take over. But this is going to be an opportunity where it's going to be a little bit different dialogue, and he's going to kind of put me in the hot seat, and allow me the opportunity to be vulnerable and transparent. But I also want to encourage the community. I talked to someone who's on tonight, Mother Joyce. If you guys have any questions or engagement, you want to say something, it's something that sparks a memory, or something that you've been, just go. This is community, this is dialogue. It's not just about us, me on here with somebody else. I can see your comments. I have my husband on there too, so join in if you have questions, if you want to comment, if you want to say something about the assessments, whatever. This is community, this is a safe place for us to be able to grow together.
yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. Make sure you have your notes and something to drink, so we can get this going. So brother, I am giving you the floor to continue with the emotional intelligence.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a privilege to be able to do this, because I think it's definitely important. So just like you said, I'm just going to go through one part. Again, this breaks down into four different domains, and so we have, one is the emotional awareness, emotional management, social emotional awareness, and relationship management. Notice that the social emotional awareness and the relationship management are separate. They're not the
Yeah,
same, and a lot of times we
yeah,
try to group those together. The same thing, we often, when you don't have background on this stuff, you often will. I mean, I remember I would group emotional awareness and emotional management together, and so they're two separate ones. So you could rank
yes,
pretty high in one and not the other, and then you realize why there is holes in success in life. And we're talking, when we say success in life, we're not talking about dollar and cents, even though
yes,
that it will equate to that. We're also talking about things that money can't buy,
yes,
like relationships and marriage, and child and parent relationships, and just all, you name it,
absolutely.
this is what we're talking about. So okay, sister, you're in the hot seat, and
Yeah,
we're going to go after this. So what we'll do is we'll do emotional management.
I knew you were going to pick that one. I knew it. Excellent. Let's do it.
I did.
Let's do it.
I didn't know until I was starting to go through, and I'm like, you know what,
You're
emotional
good. Yeah.
management. Okay, cool. So question number one, and this is on a scale of 0 to 4. Zero
Okay.
is never, one is rarely, two is sometimes, three is often, and four is always. Okay.
Okay.
And first question is, I accept responsibility for my reactions.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you what the number is, or how do you want to do this? Do you? Are we going to add it up, and then you want a dialogue?
No,
How do you?
you know what? I'm going to ask the question. You circle it, and then we'll go. We'll get into the why
Okay.
you chose that. Okay.
Excellent.
Second one is, I find it easy to make goals and stick with them. This is all under emotional management. If you just joined. Um, Third question is, I am emotionally balanced person. I am an emotional balanced person. Number four is, I'm very patient person. I am a very patient person. Number five, oh, I'll go as fast as you want me to.
You're doing good.
I don't know if you need time to be aware of it, but okay, I can accept critical comments from others without becoming angry. I can accept, this is just generalizing, so it's a generalization. So I can accept critical comments from others, and most of the time when people answer that, it's they somebody specifically comes to their mind, or
Yeah.
so just generally speaking, and that's fine if there's someone specific that comes to mind. I maintain my composure even during stressful times. If an issue does not affect me directly, I don't let it bother me. Need some time. You
These
want to
are
get going
these
again?
are good. No, you were good. These are good. I forgot about these because I've done this before. I've done this, just so y'all know, I've done this assessment before. But that's why we said last week doing it during different seasons and times is
Yeah,
good because
it is.
your answers can change, and then that's when you can make the adjustments. So yeah, it's just interesting because I feel like my answers have changed from the last time, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, for sure. Because life has
Life.
yeah, life has
Yeah.
happened, and more experience have happened. So
Yeah.
I can retain. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I can restrain myself when I feel angry towards someone. I can restrain myself. Only two more here. You're doing good, sis. I control urges to overly indulge in things that could damage my well-being. I control urges to overindulge in things that could damage my well-being. I will pause on that one and say that if anybody is struggling with substance abuse or whatever, that's normally the one that kind of just points out to be problematic and definitely a weak area. And the last one here is, I direct my energy into creative work or hobbies. Cool. So let's tally those on up. If there's any questions you want me to repeat, please let me know.
No, I'm just going through them one more time and making sure. Okay, so let me tally these up.
Drum
I
roll.
think I got 28.
Okay, drum roll, please. What is it?
I got 28.
Okay, 28. So effective functioning in this domain on the emotional intelligence spectrum, but consider strengthening, right? And so
Yep.
you and I, we've talked about. just that this is no one's a master of this.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
This is a constant thing because life is always changing. Plus, we're changing as people,
absolutely.
developing, and we're in different situations and familiar situations or whatever. And um, so effectively functioning in your for you in this emotional management. Uh,
You cut out just for a minute. You
yeah.
said I was effectively functioning, and then it went out
Oh,
just for a
sorry.
second.
So yeah.
It's okay.
So according to this sliding scale, and again, let me just bring reference to this test. This test is through a university, and
Yeah.
I forgot the author. Yeah. So the sliding scale on this is your effective functioning, but consider strengthening.
Yeah.
Uh, so my question to you is, out of all of the questions, what were your lowest ones? Maybe you had one that was low, or maybe you had two that were low. But what were your lowest ones, and what was the number?
My lowest ones was number 5.
Okay, which was
I'm
the
looking at the wrong one.
I
2, 3, 4, 5. I can accept critical comments from others without becoming angry. And I don't know. Um, so let's talk about that for a second. And maybe angry is, I don't know if angry is a word I would have used. Bothered and triggered probably um, would have been the word I would have used, not angry. Um,
okay.
I selected 2 on that. That I can accept critical comments. And I think too, for me, my mind goes to, depends on what the comment is and what it's about, right? I think that if it's something I am very confident in my ability to do, nursing, whatever, um, I might take it with a grain of salt and not even, it doesn't do anything because I know my ability in that, right? So it's like whatever. But other things that I might not feel so secure in definitely will send me to become angry.
Okay. What was your highest? And thank you for the vulnerability.
My highest, so this is the, and I'm gonna be 100. Yes, you're welcome. I'm gonna be 100% honest. So I have mother in the back of my ear, and I don't know if mom's on right now, but she'll see it. But I've always, when it's come to taking surveys, when it's come to taking questions, um, I'm always one that doesn't give the highest score for anything. Um, I don't know if his internet is acting crazy. Can you hear me, brother? Let's see. We are going to get that fixed. Give us 1 second. He's going to join us back. Bear with us. Bear with us. And if you guys are wanting any information or you want this assessment, we will look at getting that to you so you can do it, because I think it's a great tool for everybody to do. Like we were saying earlier, I did this. I know I for sure did this earlier this year when I was taking an emotional intelligence course, and my answers have definitely changed. Like you said, based on my experiences, based on lifing, they have definitely changed. So it's something good to take during different seasons of your life, um, to see where you are. Oh, you did it for work, Karen? How do you think that your results were when you did it for work? There you are.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. It happens.
Not sure what happened there.
It's okay. We go with it. And I don't want anybody to miss your they were missing some of your responses, and I don't want anybody to miss it. So
Okay.
um it's okay. Karen, I just was saying Karen said she did it for work, but what I was explaining before it had gone out, you said what was my highest one, and I was saying that I kind of have mom in the back of my head when it comes to taking surveys, and it doesn't matter what survey it is, that there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
So I don't ever give highest scores, whether it's for myself or whether it's for anybody else, just for that room for improvement. So
Okay.
I will say most of my scores are threes.
Okay.
Because again, I feel like I could always improve in my emotional management. So that would be my highest one. And I have quite a few threes, but none of them I picked four.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I didn't pick four because always is a definite word, an indefinite word, which
Yes.
means to me that's not a good word of choice when looking at a survey, because then that's not true. You're not always, there's going to be times, and so often and I think that's where mom gets the you're not always there's always room for improvement. Right. And so don't give the highest score, because I think sometimes people get stuck on, oh, they gave me a perfect 10,
right,
so I don't need to improve, or I don't need to change anything about. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely exercise your vulnerability there.
yeah
and yeah, but I mean, it's, I think it's just important to know that, like, this is a work in progress, and like you said, the questions are really they're not as, I guess they pull a little bit more out of you than what you expect. Again, when you're looking at
yeah
emotional management, you go, well, what does it matter if I, if someone else being a certain way, like, if that bothers me, like, why does, but it has to do with, like, being able to, manage, right? And we talked last week about empathy and how that plays a part in emotional intelligence. When we have most of, I won't say most, I'll say a lot of people exercise more apathy than empathy.
yeah
and
yeah
empathy takes a little bit more effort, or a
hmm
lot more effort, to be able to take that I honor me pause, put
yes
yourself in somebody else's situation, go, well, how would I feel if I, if that was for me, or
hmm
whatever it is.
yeah
So yeah, no, that
So
was good.
I want to say this. I just want to. I have a brief description of what each domain is, because I think that's also important. Like the questions, they're really good, thoughtful questions for you to ask yourself, and they're not really like crazy questions. It just takes you to be intentional, to really, like you said, and I appreciate you asking that anytime, to be intentional about really where am I at right now, present, and that's why again I said it's so important to not just do it once a year or say I've already done this, and like Mother Jo, see where you are, and you must be honest with yourself. So
Yeah.
that's why I think it's I didn't mind doing this, and again for the community, and since this is the community, that you do have to sit with yourself and be vulnerable and be open and honest about where you are, in order to again strengthen these your emotional intelligence. So self-awareness is the ability to understand your own emotions, including your strengths and weaknesses, and how they affect your thoughts and behaviors. And so again, I want to say this because when we look at these scores, then that helps you to understand, okay, if you score lower at a certain time or higher, uh, where these things are kind of being affected in your life. So again, self-awareness is more so of understanding your emotions, your strengths and weaknesses, and how they can affect your thoughts and behaviors. Self management or emotional management, the one that I just did, is the ability to manage your emotions and impulses and adapt to change and challenges. And so I think that that's really good definition for emotional management, because I will be honest that I do struggle with change, and change more so than anything that's in that list. I don't mind some challenges, but I do struggle with some change because I do like structure. I do like a plan. I do like knowing A, B, C, D. I'm a type A person. So, again, these aren't saying that if you score low or whatever, that you're a bad person. No, it's just showing you where you can improve. So you can become emotionally intelligent. And again, with change, there's change constantly. So that is a part of managing your emotions, is how you adapt and manage change and challenges.
Yeah.
The social emotional awareness is the ability to understand the emotions, needs, and perspectives of others, which is what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, again, when it comes to emotions, sometimes either people haven't been taught or don't realize that it is important to have empathy and apathy and understand the emotions of others, because lacking that, it makes it difficult to work with certain people. It makes it difficult to have relationships with certain people. It depending on what your role is in church or your home life, whatever the case is, if you don't have the ability to be emotionally aware in your social settings, then it limits you.
Yeah.
And limits your ability. And then the last one is relationship management, which is the ability to build and maintain positive relationships with others. And so, even though they're different, I think the social, emotional, and the relationship management kind of go hand in hand. They kind of partner together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like the awareness and the management partners.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you want to add on to that, brother, go ahead and add on to that if you like to.
Yeah. No, I think you did I think, no, I don't think there's anything else there to add, because I mean, you talked about each domain. We did. And I think the goal, right, of tonight is to have the community kind of test it and hear like what it is to actually have emotional intelligence, but then also how to become aware of maybe some areas I need to work on. Right.
Yeah.
Especially if there's something in your life where like it's a weak area, whether it's um, you spaz, or I don't want to say spaz, sorry, or go off the hinges to 0 to 60 real quick, or whatever, whatever it is. Or you look at your relationships and you see, that you have unhealthy relationships, or that things are going on. These are red flags for you to go, okay, I need to do some work. I need to
Yes.
figure out what do I need to do, or what can I do in order to establish healthier relationships,
Yeah.
and for myself, and then for others. And so, yeah, I think it actually, when we read those domains in order, it's appropriate, right? It's emotional awareness, emotional management, social emotional awareness, and then it's relationship management.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's the appropriate order
Order.
of
Yeah,
things.
I like that. I like that. And again, when it comes to I honor me, and looking at what I honor me is, it has to start with you first.
Yeah.
So I like how you just broke it down, that it is, those are the steps and the stages. You shouldn't jump the gun and go straight to the relationship and the social part
Yeah.
when your own emotional awareness and management is not strengthened enough and it's not present. Because, and I hate to say this word, but that's when you fumble, and that's when things just don't really work out. And then you have people sometimes that are like, well, why does this relationship work out, or I'm bad at relationships, or I can't. And it's not, it's so much deeper than that. It's
It
not
is.
oh, I'm just bad. No, that's not. No, because we were created for companionship and relationships,
Yeah.
so that's already in us. It's navigating ourselves first, being aware, learning how to manage our emotions so that we can effectively do that in social settings, work, church,
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
and then in relationship settings, romantic and or friendships.
Yeah.
So I love how you said that it really it follows the whole I honor me thing is yeah, do that and strengthen that in yourself. You know, do the pauses, do the I honor me pauses that you have to do these assessments so that way you can know, hey, you know, and sit in the present. So you're like, my emotions are off. You know, why am I feeling this way? I mean, I'll be transparent today. I had a difficult day. And that's why I said I think this hyper awareness. I did pretty good for the last week, right after the situation with my nephew, and praying that he's doing good and was doing good with that. And I felt like I was kind of coasting. But then today, I got home from work, and honestly, on my way home from work, I was struggling, I was battling. And then I get home, and I lost it. I tried. My husband came and asked me, was I okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'll even say ordinarily, sometimes I even try and tell him, yes, I'm okay, I'm fine. Or I'll be like, I'll be fine. But when you're aware of emotional awareness,
Yeah.
then you can sit in that and say, no, I'm not all right.
Yeah.
And I knew that my life was coming. And so I was like, I was in the middle of trying to do my makeup, get myself together. And here I'm just crying. But I needed that moment. I
Yeah.
needed that moment to just express all the stuff I've been holding in for weeks, all these emotions. Today has been a very emotional day with my patients. And again, with the social part, right? I had a lot of social dealings today with emotional intelligence that I was trying to manage other people's emotions. And sometimes that can even be overwhelming for your own emotions. But allowing yourself to sit in that, be present and aware, hey, my emotions now are starting to become a lot.
Yeah.
Now I'm aware. Now I need to manage. What am I going to do to manage that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What am
No,
I going to do to change that? So yeah, emotional awareness is so much more important than we really understand. Mother Joyce said the domains are definitely excellent for emotional and social growth. You would love to
yeah.
take the test. Yes, ma'am. I will
That's
help
good.
you with that.
Yeah.
She said the assessment should have been available back in the 1970s when they were using scare tactics to address substance abuse. And I agree. Um,
Yes.
and that's why I'm so thankful that God has given us this platform in this community to be able to share tools and to be able to use tools that we might not have heard about or necessarily known about.
Yeah.
Or again, some people still feel like coaching and therapy is taboo, but this is a community where there is a safe place, transparency, vulnerability. And that's why I love the opportunity. My brother said, hey, what do you think about this? And I was like, you know what, I always have people on here, and they're kind of on the spotlight of being vulnerable. So I don't mind, because this is what the community is
Yeah.
about sharing, is about growing. It's about being on the journey to honor yourself and finding ways to do that and to sustain that and be intentional. So yes, and again, that's why I had him on here, because this was a tool that he used very frequently with his clients that he had that dealt with substance abuse, um, that dealt with traumas, and help them to start to create a plan.
Yeah.
Really, is what the assessment helps with.
Exactly. A measurable goal, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and you're able to, because that's the only way that you can start to feel success, or start to
Yes.
feel some momentum moving, when you see, oh, okay, like, I normally in the past, if I was told that, like, I would have reacted like that, and now I'm able to respond to things instead of just react. And I
Yes.
think that's once you start to see that, then you're able to start to build upon those things or whatever. But yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I like how you were breaking down even um, what happened last week, and how anger was not the first thing that you felt, and
Yeah.
that there was a first emotion, because even that awareness is major, right? Because a lot of people are going to say, I got angry, but really, no, there's other emotions that come up, and to give yourself the opportunity to sit through that and process that is major. And it's really, we kind of talked about currency before, but emotional intelligence, I feel emotional intelligence, honor, we talked about character, I believe is a new currency.
It is.
um
Yeah.
because I feel like that stuff money cannot buy. and lasts way longer than any money.
Yeah.
Is longer than any money, and again, what it's saying about EQ, those people are more successful even with somebody that has a high IQ.
Yeah.
Because they're able to ground themselves when it comes to making decisions. They probably are able to do the I honor me pause and say, does this honor me? Do these decisions honor me? I'm not just making rash decisions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Yeah. If we think about it, it's like, uh, I I think that it's I think that it's been the currency.
yes,
I just think that it's more highlighted now. But I mean, even as you said that, I was thinking about like Martin Luther King's famous speech. And he's like, the content of their character, like they would be judged by It's like, man, like how many people really
yeah,
would want to be judged by the content of their character?
ooh,
Um, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
But just, so it's like that's what he was telling, that's what he was hoping that people would judge people by, not the color of their skin. So that's interesting. It's like, again, like because he knew he had that kind of revelation that like, character was a currency,
yes,
right?
yeah,
And that, but then the other part to it is it's like I heard this quote that said, how did it go? It said, um, character. No, it says your talents take you places that your character can't keep you. And I think I said that last week. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it just again it goes back to it and you go, man, like how did I get here? But
yes,
my character wasn't mature enough, right? I'm not
yeah,
saying that it was poor or whatever, but we're talking about maturing, right?
yes,
This emotional
yes,
intelligence is about maturing. And so
yes,
even when you meet people, or I've met people that seem older than their age, and we say, oh man, you seem older than your age or years beyond or whatever, or you have an old soul. What we're really saying is that you have some emotional intelligence that normally people your age wouldn't have.
yeah,
That's
man,
what we're
that's
saying.
so good. That is so good. Yeah, and that makes all the sense because we do say that all the time, and we
Right.
can't really put our finger on. I mean, I say that about the Undertaker Nick. Um, I say Nick was 60 when he was born. um,
Right.
and it is. We say he has an old soul. Like Nick is probably 70 now. Even though he's really in his 20s, but it's you're right. It's you see those things that remind you of people that have that are older or have the wisdom or have the experiences,
Yes.
and so that's what that you're pulling. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
That's
really good.
that's that's what it is. It's they have that maturity, and it's rooted in emotional intelligence
Yeah,
somewhere in there, where they're able to handle a situation that normally people would fall apart on.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Well, uh, if there's anything else you want to add, brother, go ahead. If not, we are
No.
going to end this session. But last week, I'm not going to put you on the spot for skills. Last week, you gave us some questions. So I just want to remind the community about the questions. If you haven't sat with them, I encourage you to sit with these questions again. And then we're going to do our I honor me affirmations. And then we're going to get out of here tonight.
Yeah.
But the questions that he left us with last week is ask yourself, who has the voice of influence in your life? That is another level of emotional awareness,
Yeah.
again, which is the first one on the assessment. You have to be aware and understand who has the voice of influence in your life and is dictating your emotions, your decisions, everything else. So take
Everything.
some time to think about that, because that's very important. The second question he said is, ask yourself, do you know more than what you apply to life? And if so, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Impressed with your questions, huh? Those are some good
I'm,
questions.
I'm like, yeah, I gotta ask myself that. Yeah.
Listen, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was flowing. It was flowing. And then he also left us with this. He said, remember this. It's not what you know, but it's the application about what you know. And that's when growth happens.
Yeah.
So all of that is good, and those questions are good questions to just sit with, for the next week. Just go through those questions, like who has the like what voice do I here. And if you need to take some time for mindfulness, just to sit there and ponder what that is, because it's there. And then about what you're really applying to your life, just take some time to journal about that, or just sit with that. And then understand that you can't grow unless you're applying this stuff that we talk about in the community. It's all to help us grow in this journey called life. We don't have all the answers. We didn't come here with guidebooks, but the Lord has given us tools. And now, like Mother Wallace said, she wishes they had this in the 70s. We have it now. And so that's why I Honor Me has no age, no gender, no nothing.
Yeah.
It's for everybody and can be applied to everybody. So to end this part 2, and again, you guys can send me a message. I saw you, Mother Wallace. If you guys want to dive more into emotional intelligence, I will be doing probably a 5-week course coming up, where we're going to do a group course on emotional intelligence to kind of dive deeper, further into the skills of getting on this journey of becoming more emotionally intelligent. So if you are interested, send me a message, put it in the comment, and I will keep you updated on that course coming. So to end this, let's do our I Honor Me affirmations. I will say them, and brother, I'll have you repeat them. And then community, I want you guys to say it as well. I don't say that every week, but I want you guys to say it every time we do, and get it inside of you. So I honor my body, mind, and spirit.
I honor my body, mind, and spirit.
I honor my strengths and weaknesses.
I honor my strengths and weaknesses.
I honor my past, present, and future.
I honor my past, present, and future.
I honor my journey and my destination.
I honor my journey and my destination.
I honor me.
I honor me.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So thank you, brother, again, for taking the time out to be on here and sharing your stories, your recap, your knowledge. I do honor you for that, and I appreciate you. Thank you for taking me down a little journey of being vulnerable and transparent with the community. That's what it's about.
Yep.
I Honor Me community, I love you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you all soon again. If you want any information about the course, go ahead and send me a message. But I love you guys. Have a wonderful week and take care.
God bless.